For as impressive and fun as the original Puzzle Quest was when it first came out, its most important achievement, its most lasting legacy, is the genre that it spawned. The more action-like puzzle game has become huge in the intervening years, but it means a lot of the games have gone under the radar, mostly unnoticed or forgotten. Take for example today's game, Might and Magic Clash of Heroes. Originally released on the DS and eventually ported to everything else under the sun, Clash of Heroes not only had the popularity of the puzzle game genre at the time to ride on, but also the Might and Magic franchise, but still didn't manage to take off. And that's a real shame because there's a great puzzle game here. The core mechanic is a pretty basic match 3 concept at first glance, where you have to grab units and match them up vertically or horizontally, sort of like a Critter Crunch, vaguely. Vertical matches are attacks, and horizontal matches create defensive structures, the balance between which is absolutely key to being successful. Because the most interesting part of Clash of Heroes is that your opponent, on the other side of the board, is doing the exact same thing you are, trying to build walls to defend against your attacks, while countering with their own attacks. Each main character and enemy faction has a different set of units that work in different ways, meaning you're far less likely to become bored. You're always either learning how to use new units of your own, or how to fight new enemies. That said, the game's story is some awful, overwrought fantasy nonsense that I often found myself skipping through. It seemed completely unnecessary, and I don't know if I could tell you that much about it, other than it's sort of the usual long simmering tensions between different fantasy races brought to a boil by an external force trope that's so horribly overused, especially in video games. But thankfully, it's easy enough to completely ignore, and it doesn't really impact the gameplay all that much. It's somewhat surprising how open the game's maps are, offering plenty of ways to gather resources, make money, and earn new units. There's always something to do if you don't feel like mainlining the main story, which, combined with all the aforementioned unit and gameplay variety, means the game is diverse to a surprising degree, a level at which you don't really expect any puzzle game to be. Which is really important for Clash of Heroes in particular, because the campaign of this game is really, really long. The main story will probably take you about a day of game time to finish, but while it does drag on at points, and I would often find myself getting a little bit tired of the core mechanic, I never really got bored or disinterested for long stretches of time. For being so drawn out, there isn't a lot here that feels particularly like padding or filler. It might take you a while to play through, but it's well worth taking that time. And as I mentioned earlier, this thing has basically come out for everything that was out at the time: 360, PS3, PC, and the DS. And as far as choosing a platform is concerned, I don't think there's a bad version of this game, so it comes down to whether or not you want to play it portably. Obviously, the version for consoles and PC looks significantly better than the original game on the DS, but if you want to play it on the go, it's a perfectly fine way to do so. The game is available for iOS and Android, but it doesn't seem to be actively maintained. The iOS version hasn't been updated since 2013, so I'd imagine it's chock full of bugs and glitches and just general nastiness, so I probably wouldn't pick it up on there. Every Friday, I look at a game that was either ignored when it came out or has been forgotten since. A game that people have missed. If you like that idea, be sure to subscribe so you can see the latest videos. If you like this video in particular, be sure to hit that like button, and thanks for watching.